how did he leave Congo to South Africa? Or how did he leave, any other country to, because even when he leaves Nigeria, he will tell you that he's going to China, but the port is not nominated sometimes. And because these are tankers, what happens is, so the only thing I will say about Nigerians, we are too nice, unfortunately, and then less professional, because it shouldn't be because someone is calling from abroad that they're genuine. I could be making it up. How do you know if I am who I said that I am? Because you have not asked for anything to check, my identity.
So, but I'm sort of curious,
Yes.
how much transaction is really taking place between African country, because that is what we are mostly interested in now, London, looking at the pipeline that passed through London. What do you guys say about that? Thank you for joining us in today's episode of the Obehi Podcast. Today we are going to be having our conversation around storytelling. So we have with us Noelle. I'm sure if I pronounce the name correctly. Anyway, Noelle, thank you so much for joining us. This is an important conversation that we'll be looking forward to. Could you tell the people who you are? That is where we usually start from.
Thank you so much for having me. It's highly appreciated. My name is Noelle Mapianda. Noelle for Christmas, because we speak French. And then I am in full-time employment. So 9 to 5, I'm a senior analyst. But I also have my other things that I do. So I'm an owner of a small business called Business Women Circle, where we help, women entrepreneurs by providing a platform and a community for them to grow their business. I'm also an author of Queen Gay Mojabak, where we discuss issues that, women face, juggling both like the corporate world as well as their homes. And that's me in a nutshell.
All right, that's interesting. So Noelle, I mean Christmas. Can you?
Yes, Noelle.
Wow, that's beautiful. I never even understand that.
Thank you.
All right. So tell us, Noelle. So you've been in the UK for how long?
Wow, I've been in the UK for 20 years now.
Is there anything that moved you there? Did you just decide one day you were going to go there?
Oh, I wish it was personal. No, it was my family. So my family moved to the UK, and I was still a teenager. And obviously, when they move, you have to follow them. Yes, so it was family reasons.
All right, that's interesting. Now you move. But where are you moving from? Where are you coming from? Tell us a little bit about that background.
Yeah, I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo. They are saying short. And we moved from there to London in the UK in 2005.
All right. And how is the experience for you so far?
I mean, initially it was difficult simply because of their way of living is different from back home. So back home is more like, community driven. Everyone is your uncle and aunties, But here, it felt a bit isolated because, I mean, just like the way they live and the fast life especially. So it took time for me, to kind of adjust to the fast life that, the UK has. Yeah, so very, 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 polar opposite. But interesting.
So you're now fully ingrained into the system now. You're now very fast at freedom. So that if you were to go to Congo today, people are going to look at you differently. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah. I've had times and of going back. So it's funny because the things that that were normal now I complain about, i.e. traffic. Oh. So I'll be the one saying, "Oh, this country, the traffic is not changing," kind of thing. Yeah.
I see. All right. So you are a full-time employment. That is what you are a full-time
Yes.
employment. That's what you were saying before. Okay.
Yes.
And then you are also doing business on the sideline.
Yes.
Could you tell us about what you do in business and tell us a bit the background of where are you? What is the nature of your career? How do you describe that?
So I studied chemistry in university, and when I had finished, my dreams were to either work for a cosmetic science department or maybe at a hospital, but mostly cosmetics, simply because I felt like we didn't have enough makeup, that suits our skin. So that was, what drove me. Unfortunately, I didn't get the chance to, get a job in that particular department. And that's, I was told, or like, my research showed that it was due to the fact that there are only a few labs in the UK. So most of our cosmetics things are imported. And then France was at the next option because obviously, I speak French. But, things did not work out. But I needed a job, after, graduating. And one of the jobs that came across was called financial investigator, and I applied for this particular role. So in my head, I thought, yes, I did chemistry. This is like, crime and investigations. So in my head, it made sense that this is CSI. I don't know, like, if you're familiar with the show CSI. So
Of
it's all
course.
about, forensic. So in my head, I said, yes, this is good. And then lo and behold, I got the job. Unfortunately, it is not what I had thought it was. And during the interview, I even asked the manager, where is the lab? He said, lab? We don't do that here. So this one is like money laundering. It is not to do with what I had thought. And I was very upset, as you can imagine. And the funny story is I'm still there until now. So it's been 12 years that I work in, for this particular organization, and I'm still there. So that's the background behind it. This is like the personal, sorry, the 9 to 5, But then out of that, then I became a mom, after a few years. And after becoming a mom, the struggles were different. So before becoming a mom, I was married already, but the issues were no different. You're both adults. You go to work, you come back, the normal mundane thing you do. But then when I became a mom, I felt like my life was being controlled by this teeny tiny human being, who imposed herself on me. But at my workplace, I was a senior, and I was able to, give orders, and I had people, to, follow them. But at home, like, this child will not take any order. Okay, so she was the boss, and I was so confused. I was like, what is going on? But then on a more serious note, it was more like I felt like I was changing. I just changed, life became different. I couldn't do the things I used to do anymore, and all those challenges. So, and then because I'm an analyst by trade, when things don't go accordingly, we have to research. Then I started, researching. So the default setting was to go back, to my environment, ask my parent, or the people around me, how did, motherhood affect them. And when I went to my family, my mom and aunts and all that, so when I had asked them, they laughed. They were like, you only have one child and you're complaining? I was like, that's not the answer I want. I want to know if you guys, had experienced these things that, I'm experiencing, how I was not able to kind of balance, work and life. So they thought I was losing it. So I said, okay, maybe it's me. Because, there are 5 of us. So you can imagine now your family telling you, there are 5 of you, you only have one, and you're complaining, what is this? And then I felt I was being judged, and then again, judging myself, because I had to tell myself, if they were able to do this, how come me with one, I feel like, it's the end of the world. Then I told myself, let me go and research elsewhere, because I'm very curious. I went outside and then interviewed a few women online everywhere. And I had about 30 participants. And then they all had one thing in common. So they were all mothers juggling work. And then I had to, send out questionnaires asking, for instance, like, how did you feel, after becoming a mom? How are you managing? Did you undergo any, psychological or physical or physiological changes? Was your personality affected? All those things. And then the consensus was like, we all felt a change, a change that we could not control. But obviously, like, the extent of it differed from one, woman to the other, which is normal. And then the complaint we had as well was that the lack of support, like in a workplace, where it felt like they were not supported. So the support is not necessarily financial, but it's more like physical. So some of them felt bullied. I mean, the list is long, but the consensus is like, they felt like they were not supported, in a workplace. And then because obviously I'm from the corporate world, I told myself like the only way to convey this message is by compiling, a book, and then hoping that this will be a tool guide to help young mothers. By young mothers, not necessarily by age, but by having young kids, and also like for them to feel normal, because I felt abnormal, and then for them to understand that it's okay, to feel those changes they're expected, and and how they can cope, with it. So that's a long, 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 long story. But then from it then came the business. So the business came as a result of me not being able to have opportunities to present the work and make it known. Then an idea came, why can't I create a hub where I'm also with other women that maybe have the same passion, not necessarily writing but any business, but they're looking for a platform for their business to grow and also like to be more visible. And that's when the Business Women Circle was created. So yes, that's a long and short version of what I do.
Thank you so much for that. And of course, it's very important that you break down the background so that at least it helps somebody that is listening to understand what you do. Anyway, we are coming to touch what you do just now. But you were talking about financial investigator. That is the work that you do. Then, of course, you have also
Yes.
this women's circle that you help to put together. But financial investigator, what does that mean? Because I'm sort of curious, just like you, as you were getting into this job, then you came to understand that you are not like those CAIs, CSI expert. You are not going to be doing any forensic investigation, but you are going to be doing something else. But something else, exactly what?
Okay. So I work for for this particular organization. So what they do is they have members, and those members are banks. So these are trade banks, worldwide, all the banks that obviously bigger. And then our job is to investigate if the transactions are either fraudulent. So, i.e., because they tend to finance very big operations, and then there's so many documents involved. So our job is to check that those documents exist, and then whatever is declared on those particular documents are what they say. So our checks involves making calls, emails, investigating, and this involves ports all around the globe. So that's why not all the ports in Nigeria, for instance, because we have to call all of them to check. So we call like a port to ask, okay, did this was this a particular vessel at your port? Did it load this amount of oil? Is it going to China? Things like that. And then so we come as independent agents. And then based on our research, then we send that to our members who are the banks. And then the banks also, they have their own division doing the same thing. But us, because we are under the International Chamber of Commerce, so we are trusted because we've been around for 40 years plus. So our research is then sent to them. They compare that to what they have. And then obviously they decide, whether to go ahead with it or not. But our job is to report anything, whether it's good or bad. We'll tell them. Whether that document is fraudulent, we tell them. But the decision is not up to us. We have an idea of what they will do, but we don't have the power to execute. We can only report. So this is the document, but also there are people. But because of GDPR, this has been reduced. So we don't really research people anymore. But we can do organizations. So we can check particular organization to check the history, their background, so just to do their due diligence to inform the bank, of any activities, malicious or not. So yeah, we are the whistleblowers, behind the scene. Yeah.
All right. All right. That is interesting.
Thank you.
So I'm imagining you now picking up a phone in the UK and calling a company in Nigeria or maybe in the US and you're trying to investigate a transaction. I'm trying to imagine how that usually will be. Okay, now I'm imagining that because I remember one time I was in Milan. I was in the office of the office of Eni in Milan. Eni is a big oil company that also
Yes.
operates in Nigeria. So I wanted to interview the secretary there at the time. So when I entered the office in Milan, it was like as if it was a secret court. We look at
Oh yeah.
how the kind of protection that you see everywhere, though, the tint. As okay, you cannot say that, you can say that, you can. It's
Mhm.
very highly protected, though. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how you are able to break into those walls. I'm talking of those. That was should be 2015, where I did this
Mm.
interview in Milan. So now,
Mm.
how do you manage to break those walls? They have never seen you. You have never seen them. They are able to
Mm.
reveal information to you that way they appear in an official document. And sometimes can even be against them, depending on
Mhm.
how the investigation go. So tell me about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, of course. So basically, I mean, companies like any, which is very, very big, they will happen to be like either the exporter or the receiver, but mostly exporter. So we are not contacting them because we know, like, as like you saw, like, I mean, it's very difficult, like, to get through them. And then when you're calling them, you need like a particular name because they will tell you unless you know a particular name. By name, they mean full name. They can't just pass your name, your phone or your email to anybody. So we don't tend to contact them because if we do, then our investigation is compromised. So then, so we have to go via third party. So which means like, people that are working with them. Because like, for instance, if they're transporting oil from Nigeria going to China, we have then to get involved the agent in Nigeria. Because the agent in Nigeria, they are not sometimes mentioned on the document and the port will know. So we can call the port, which is extremely difficult. So I can tell you that no, we can never get through those offshore ports, like in Nigeria in particular. So, or Africa is difficult. South Africa maybe, but Nigeria, forget it. So it's very difficult. So yeah, so like we can try with those particular agents, and then the agent will then tell us what is declared, or at the discharge port. So this could be in China, so we have offices around the globe. So we have in London, in Malaysia, and also Dubai. So this one covers like the 24 hours. So when we're sleeping, the other office is working. But yeah, so we come via those third party. So if the agents do not work, any will use like a vessel. So that ship that be used is owned by a company. So the company that owns the ship does not have any interest in lying to us because they want to ensure that whatever is declared as well is what their particular ship is transporting. So they are trusted. We can go to them. So we go to them under the International Chamber of Commerce and also under our umbrella because they know that we exist, and they know that our research is just to help them as well, because if there's something wrong, they would like to know as well. But they're more likely to know the real information from us than they are any, because if there's somebody in any creating fraudulent documents, any will know unless it's is reported. But the good thing is, like, if there's something wrong and then the owner of the vessel has been notified, they will have to notify their client. And then, further investigation, has to occur. And then because insurance is involved as well, everyone now, becomes alerted. Insurance companies, brokers, owners, operators. So like, it becomes like a big chain. But ideally, everyone has to be at peace because we want this to happen accordingly. Otherwise, the bank is losing at the core.
That's interesting. Looking at London, we in Nigeria, we usually say that London is an advanced Nigeria. Because this is a city that it doesn't really produce a lot of things, but they have a lot of control over the finance, money, banking, and because the way the British set up the institution, set up all the satellites in different countries, is that everything needs to pass through London. Therefore, London have an upset from that, have a lot of money from these businesses that are taking place in any part of the world. So, but I'm sort of curious,
Yes.
how much transaction is really taking place between African country, because that is what we are mostly interested in now,
Yeah. Yeah.
London, looking at the
Mhm.
pipeline that passed through
Mhm.
London. What do you guys
Mhm.
say about that?
I mean, because like in my workplace, I'm the only black person. So to be fair, like when it comes to Africa and also African, but I take it really personal because I see the transactions, and I wonder what is happening to our continent. So one particular example is Congo. So in Congo, it's almost impossible to get through any agent, to be fair. Most of the contacts that they declare do not exist. So let me give you like one example. On this particular document, like, they will declare that, cobalt, or any other mineral as left South Africa. But then they write on the bill originated from Congo. So now there's no way of tracing if the amount that's been declared is what, is the real amount. So we don't know. How did he leave Congo to South Africa? Or how did he leave, any other country to, because even when he leaves Nigeria, it will tell you that it's going to China, but the port is not nominated sometimes. And because these are tankers, what happens is it might actually stop somewhere, maybe Singapore, before reaching China. And then some oil might be taken out of that ship, which means that at the end, whatever was taken in Nigeria is not what will reach, the discharge port. So there's so many fraud involved. And that really, yeah, I mean, I don't even know what to say, but every time I come across that, I am very triggered, because I'm like, we're talking about billions of dollars. And these are, I mean, it's not like a small amount. These are large amounts. And they're like, most of the people that are declared as well are foreigners. No offense, but what is going on? Who is allowing, the exports of this particular, luxury in Africa? Most of the commodities that are exported, oil, number one. Then you have all the minerals, you have the cobalt, you have the coal, all those things that come. But then if you compare the import, the things that that comes to Africa is mostly food and clothing. And that's really insulting, in my eyes. And most of the food that comes down is from Brazil, and we're talking about chicken. So are you telling me that in Africa we need chicken from abroad? Question mark. I come from Congo, and then where I was born in this particular city, we have the sea. So we have fish. There's so much fish there that the fish becomes old because there's no one to fish it out of the sea. And yet, the fish that is consumed mostly is called Thomson. I think it's herring in English. And then this particular fish is exported. What's the logic in that? So you can tell that the system is broken in every level. But unfortunately, there's only limited power that someone like us can have, but we have the information. And every time I go back home, I really hope I can speak to somebody. But again, how do you get in contact with somebody? What do you tell them? Because as far as they know, they're getting their money, they're living very comfortable lives. So it doesn't matter. But it matters because it's about the future. So if nothing is done today, that means this system, which is corrupt, will continue, to our next generation. Most of the people, and even the young generation, they want to go back. But where do you go up, back to? And what do you do? Most people that go back is because they have something else that, they want to start something. But there's so many things that could be restructured, refixed, and things will be better. So things like food should not be imported, especially when it comes to fish that my country really produces. So those are sad, realities and some examples that I could think of. Bottom line is whatever is coming out of us is expensive. Whatever we are taking is cheap. And consumable, basically. You have it and tomorrow it's gone. Consumable.
All right. You were making mention of Nigeria just now. That appeared to me, of course, that should be natural now, because now the United Kingdom and Nigeria, they are two criminals that are in bed together. Yeah. We know them all the time. So tell me, what do you know about Nigeria, the transaction? So that is, because you made mention of oil. Okay, now Nigeria being the largest producer in Africa, that must be something. What can you say about that?
All I can say is it's just interesting as well, because most of the port, like I said, you cannot contact them. Port Harcourt, you can never contact them. Lagos, you can never. Lekki, because most of the oil is from Lekki. Lagos is general, anything, but Port Harcourt mostly, and then Lekki, that's what we see at least. So we have all those big ports. They should at least have contacts. When you call, they should work. And also whatever is declared should be mentioned, because most of those agents, they have no idea. You call them, they will tell yes sir, yeah. But so because when I'm calling from London, they are willing to just give me anything because I've said but then where you're calling other countries like Europe, they will have to make sure you are who you say you are. So the only thing I will say about Nigerians, we are too nice, unfortunately, and then less professional, because it shouldn't be because someone is calling from abroad that they're genuine. I could be making it up. How do you know? if I am who I said that I am, because you have not asked for anything to check, my identity. And I'm asking about very valuable information. Why are you just not disclosing that to me? You understand? So those are the things that I would say to Nigeria, to be more professional, and also to be accessible. If your company lists a particular number, why is nobody picking up? Or when someone picks up, you can tell they're not in the office. Oh, I'm driving. Or oh, hey, are you there? Basically, it's as if they're at home. And you're like, okay, am I talking to an agency? Or am I talking to someone who just, waking up from bed? However, the other companies that are owned by the Oyibos, like those big companies, I must say, when you get through, our Nigerian brothers and sisters are very professional. But the only request I will have, if I may, is for us to also treat the ones that belong to us, in a very professional manner. It shouldn't be because I'm working for Maersk Nigeria that I have to sound, I have to be professional because, the company is not like Nigerian, but I should sound the same, even when I'm working for Dangote. So we have to be proud of ourselves and just be less intimidated. Yeah. But, it's all good. It's all good.
All right, but what about what do you find in terms of the investigation that you do? Okay, now I'm asking that because
Mhm.
the Nigerian government have, of course, the Nigerian government and the international criminal friends in the UK and in the United States,
Yes. Yes.
they believe that everybody is stupid in Nigeria because they will say,
Mhm.
there are oil bunkerings in Nigeria, there are oil theft in Nigeria. Now, this will appear like there is this village person in somewhere
Mhm.
in Nigeria who do oil bunkering and they manage to get the oil to Hong Kong, to the United States, and to UK. But this is not
Mhm.
possible. It's never going to be possible. Because for you to
No,
load a tanker, you need to be officially allowed to do that because that is the effort, that
absolutely.
is the Navy. That is, you can't enter into the Nigeria airway without the government knowing, which is to say that
Mhm.
if that is oil bunkering, either the Nigeria, the people that are working within the government are directly involved or they're just closing their eye, allowing it to happen. So it cannot be something that they didn't know. But sometimes they
Mhm.
pretend that okay, there are thieves out there. But who are these thieves? But since you guys
They,
are able
they,
to do this
they
investigation,
don't pretend. They
so,
know.
tell
They
me about
know.
that.
They know because Nigeria is in close proximity with Ghana and Togo, but then most of the oil, sometimes Togo, some Nigeria, but mostly Nigeria, as we know. The thing is nothing can leave a particular country without the officials knowing. So even when the effects, or banking, happening, they are aware. However, they are under umbrellas. So other sub companies are involved, but the major companies are from the West. Simple as that. Because they know the only way to steal is to work incognito. So they will use another person's identity if need be. So in our course of our investigations, we come across that, you know, identity thefts is one of the main thing where one person says one name but it's not them, and then different nationalities involved. So we had this one particular case, and this guy, oh boy, I don't want to say the country, but this one particular guy was not European and it was not Asian. It was one of the most powerful countries that we all fear to talk about. And then when this particular individual, got caught in Nigeria, he told them, I've been doing this for 30 years, there's nothing, you can do to me because, I have connections. So I know the president, I know everybody. So just a phone call, I'll be released. So they know what they're doing, some of them, and they're not scared because they're protected. At least when it comes to the West, yeah. When someone has that, I know not be there. Corruption exists everywhere, but it is contained. So if a police officer were to arrest me, I can't fight, but they will at least do the arrest. There is nobody I can call and say, "Oh, uncle, this one," and then they'll be like, "Okay, go." So I will have to be investigated. And I know, obviously, there are, there's always, but it's minimized compared to back home. Back home, I could be a criminal because I am somebody's son or I know somebody's position. I just have to call. And then him calling is an order. So whether I'm criminal or not, I'm let go. Why? Because they are all beneficiaries. Because think about it, like if this one particular transaction is like $1 billion, yeah, and then there are banks, so at least three banks are involved. Yeah, involved in this particular shipment. So the exporter in Nigeria has their own banks. The receiver also has their own banks. And then someone in between, this could be like the notifier, is also has their bank. So then it depends where this particular thing like will fall. So obviously it's mostly at the arrival that the bank will have to pay out. But when they're paying out, who are they paying? They're paying Nigeria, right? Because it's going to China, for instance. I'm just using those countries because it's the most obvious one. So if there's any Chinese people, apologies. So yeah, so like from China, but it's to pay out Nigeria. But when it's going to Nigeria, who are the beneficiary? Beneficiaries. Many people are under that paycheck, so that's why it is easier for them to close their eyes because when money is coming incognito, nobody knows. Then you can't do anything. You want up, with it. Who does auditing in Nigeria? Like with our officials, nobody. Have you ever heard of like in auditing in the government? They don't do that. Back home, I'm here to hear that, we are doing auditing. They do companies, yes. The government will audit companies, yes. By themselves, the government being audited, and unheard of. But in the West, like I said, I'm not saying that, that they're exempt, but audit, they have a department that is dedicated to just auditing. So you have even like external ones, auditors that come to audit the company, to check if there's something going on, to check like if they've missed like taxes, things like that. We don't have those in place. And that's why they can't do anything they want to do, unfortunately. Things will change because the diaspora is waking up, so the young people, will definitely, change. I'm very optimistic. It's good for us to see these kind of things firsthand because it gets us understand and also appreciate back home more than before. And I think things will definitely, in the next 20 years, it seems long, but it's not long. But at least, things will definitely change. So, don't be dismayed. Things will change.
Thank you so much, Noelle. I really appreciate that. And I also appreciate that the work that you're doing, in the sense that people need to understand that the reason these things don't work is because maybe we are not doing enough to make it work. We are over-relaxed, thinking that somebody will come to help us, but nobody's coming to help us.
No.
We're going to have to look for a way to fix this problem because now you are doing this work because the government in the UK or the agencies there or the people there want to know what is going on because their life depends on that. If you take away the money, it's not that UK actually produce a lot. They don't produce a lot of things. They only benefit from the money coming from other people. But also us, we also need to understand that our life depends on what we are producing. If we are producing cotton somewhere in Congo, we don't expect that, America is coming to help us. No, our life depends on this. Absolutely. So it is important that we understand that what we have, our life depends on that. So we need to protect it with everything that we have. That is how we're going to be able to survive. It's a matter of life and death. If we don't protect it, then we will never be able to have anything. Of course, that also doesn't mean that there are no people that want to steal. There are people that want to steal everywhere. But are you going to allow everybody to just keep stealing? In my place, it is said that let me explain. Either the person who wants to be bad doesn't say he don't want to be bad. He wants to be bad. But it is the people around in the community that doesn't allow him to be bad. Therefore, it's a responsibility for everybody.
We have to love ourselves more. And then we also have to value ourselves more because we have the competence, we have the abilities. And then now, we are also educated. Like in Nigeria, majority of people that are well off or even normal have studied abroad, so it's not like before where it was very easy to see, sorry, where it's very easy, to see the difference. So now we have no excuse to say, okay, I will not do this because this particular, because things were not given to me on a silver platter. No, it's not like that. So we just have to embrace and then be more responsible. By that work with what we have. Because, like you said, if we keep on relying from outside, our lives will never change because that means any things to change, the West has to, have a hand on it. why can't we be, independent? Some countries are showing us like, they can be. Singapore like is one of like, the examples. Look how poor they were, and yet like within 20 years, like look how much like they were able to accomplish. So, and Nigeria is the second largest country in Africa. Are we the second? Yes. So if like they're the second one, like and then with all the competence, with all the riches that we have, why can't we like more dependent? Why can't we create more? Because when it comes to life, when you're more responsible, the West has no choice but to abide. You understand? But if like we're just, the dependent, they will come and then like reinforce their laws and keep on stealing. But if then we are more like able to give more guidelines, there's certain things that they cannot do. So we just have to wake up and like believe ourselves more because we can't do it.
It is really our responsibility to be able to do the needful to get our countries in order, because nobody's coming to help us do this. Now, this of course title what you are currently doing now, which is creating this women's circle. Can you tell me more, like what is the solution that you are providing for these women?
Absolutely. Yeah. So just like we're discussing, so we have to find a way of being more proactive ourselves. So because when we are dependent on a system, when things don't go to plan, we are stuck. So one of the ways of breaking through the glass ceiling is to creating your own. So this particular business women circle, like I said before, was created as a result of not being able to have more opportunities, to sell my books, to talk about my work. So creating this platform has given other women who are also in my position, who are looking for opportunities like I did before, to come and also have. So basically, I'm giving the opportunity to them. So when we meet like in very, very busy places. So we're a group of women or entrepreneurs, and others are beginning, others are obviously advanced. But the idea is for all of us like, to create a community where we come and help each other. So we help each other by, spending the entire day. So it's becoming a community, and our business is thriving because now we are becoming more visible. So for instance, like you have someone that lives outside London that will come just to exhibit, during our trading hours. And then the idea is for them to also increase their product visibility. So that means like, if you're local, say like in Manchester, now people know in London, so that's like on the addition, because so we understand the value of being visible, because when someone knows about your product, it's about, the word of mouth. So you might not buy it today, but we understand the value. So we are investing in that. So that's the value we are adding, to those particular women. So they're all from every background, but mostly from the diaspora that we are attracting. So so it's to encourage them, because it's very difficult to start something and not have the support, and every little helps. So when you're coming, is also helping you coming out of your comfort zone, because when you're coming out, you're learning how to have a business, how to set it up, having all those questions, answered. And then we also organize once a year, like a networking sessions where we invite women experts or men, not just women, but but it's mostly for women, like expert to come and discuss like different topics like pertaining to our businesses. So the idea is to help us grow and become bigger and better and understand like what we're doing, and obviously also to know that what we're doing is not just for today, but it's for generation to come. So all those things are incorporated. But yeah, so in a nutshell, it's just helping women entrepreneurs grow in their businesses in a small capacity for now, and hopefully grow one day. Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. All right. So in 1 or 2 minutes, how can people reach out to you? Those who want to connect with you or also join this women group that you have created. Be very brief.
Thank you very much. So you can find us on LinkedIn under my name, Noelle Mapianda, or on Instagram. So Business Women in one word, Business Women Circle, and the same on Facebook. So Business Women Circle. And once you come, you see all the informations you need.
All right. Thank you so much, Noelle. It's been a pleasure talking with you here, and we really have gotten a lot of value from what you said about business, about the situation that we have in Africa, and all the stealing that is taking place there. So nobody's watching. Okay, somebody's watching, but they pretend they are not watching. So we hope that one day we'll be able to learn how to take care of ourselves so that we can survive, because our life and survival depends on what we have. If we can't protect it, then we are not going to have anything. So thank you so much for this share. Of course, for those of you that have also listened to the end of this conversation, we say share your thoughts. Let us know what you take away from this video, and let us know if you have any question, and we will respond to each and every one of them. So thank you so much. Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year, Noelle.
Thank you so much. Same to you. Bless you.
All right.
Thank
Have a
you.
good time.